Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bright Founders Talk at Temi. Temi is an international software company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. My name is Matthew. I'll be your host today, and I'm joined by Mr. Stephan Karner, who is currently the COO at a place called Valutico. How are you doing today, Stephan?
Oh, thank you very much. Happy to be on the show and happy to talk to you.
Perfect. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be with us today. Before we get going, tell us about your current position. Tell us a little bit about Valutico. What's it about and what do you do there?
Yeah, great. So I'm working for Valutico. Valutico is the first global company valuation tool. So what does that mean? Company valuation is the art to determine how much a company is worth. And basically, we automate that process, normally done by corporate finance specialists and auditors, tax, you name them. We basically support them in doing their work more efficiently and save them a lot of time in doing their analysis. It's the first end-to-end product. We are global. We are almost in 85 countries and have 70 people all around the globe. Remote first company based here in the beautiful heart of Europe, Vienna, Austria. Me myself, I am basically a business enthusiast. Did business administration in my studies and kind of joined the startup way. First was still in a more traditional, let's say, work environment, consulting, and then founded my own business and came then to Valutico. Actually, to help them in the beginning with government grants and funding, and slowly took over the operation side. And as CEO, obviously, I'm leading the global operations, supporting the teams with the things that they need. So rather on the contractual side, again, fundings, government grants, these type of things, but as well classical HR related stuff. So together with the HR manager, I'm leading this team. To see where we can best recruit, find people, and again, have them all set up for success, I would say.
That's terrific. So while we're on that, let's talk a little bit about HR and the right team and the right people. How do you go about finding the right people? You have a good idea of what your company needs, but how do you get a good idea of what the people are worth to your company?
Well, I always say human resource, it's more than a resource, obviously, but it's essential. Like for a car, the fuel, you need a company. And in particular, in our industry, and obviously on the one side, the engineering part, but on the other side, then as well, the servicing, selling the product, you are quite heavily reliant on good stuff. And I'm very happy, even in a remote setting, that we found terrific people all around the globe. The remote setup also allowed us to scale faster in the markets that we're in, obviously, but as well being able to assess global talent. That is very, very important in times like that, because more and more companies are coming on the market. There are other companies that just are better funded. You always have to think that in startups that somebody else might be better funded than you. So acting global and being able to recruit globally was definitely a great opportunity for us. Comes obviously as well a little bit with downsides. Not sitting all in the same room, in the same house, having not so short ways to see each other in that sense might be sometimes difficult as well for staff themselves. But I think due to COVID and now the past COVID era, we can see that there has been quite a shift, that people are way more open to this type or actually actively seek this type of working. Which gives them a certain level of freedom. With regards to talent, there are different ways of finding them. Obviously, classical website, in particular for, I think, younger companies, very interesting is AngelList, formerly AngelList, now Wellfound, for instance. Not trying to promote that site, but there it's not so cost intensive to find talent, I would say. Then obviously you can use LinkedIn and the other websites, job portals, to actively searching, putting some money behind it, work with recruiters. These are all the different options. But then once you have the talent, it is as well very important to develop the talent, to show them, to guide them through an experienced management team, or through then as well the second layer, which we introduced this year. Because when you're a startup, you normally start with a couple of people in a room, and then eventually you have success and you start growing. You start growing faster than other companies normally. So in the end, you need to, as well as the salesperson needs to have the funnel ready for them to sell to the right people, you have to do exactly the same on the HR side. That is sometimes a challenge, as I said, already in a remote setup, when you know people only from the screen, like we met today, Matt. That's very nice, but sometimes you want to have that human interaction, drink a beer after work together, do sports together, that's bonding time as well. It shows you as well how people react in certain, under certain influences. And I'm not speaking here about alcohol, but about work-related one, like stress, for instance, fast-paced environments, these type of things. It helps you when you know that when you played with one of your colleagues, maybe once tennis or something like that, you kind of know that a certain reaction, which obviously is not completely missing, but definitely reduced when you're in a remote setup. So we try our best as well with limited funds to, meet the people. So for instance, us as management team, when we fly somewhere, even on holidays sometimes, if I go to Spain and I know one of my colleagues is sitting in Barcelona, I ask him for maybe meeting in the afternoon for a beer or something like that, because I think this is really important that we don't lose this human touch. And I'm very blessed that the two founders, Alex and Paul, both see it the same way. They do exactly the same as well on business trips. We try to involve then our remote teams to come to the same places, because unfortunately yet we cannot do the big event like Facebook and invite everybody from everywhere in the world. But we're trying our best as well with our setup to get as much human interaction as possible as well.
Wow, so that's quite an interesting thing. So it sounds to me like you're quite, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're quite passionate about the human experience. You've put a lot of thought into this. And you mentioned something interesting, being able to interact with people physically, playing tennis, going out for a drink, doing that sort of thing, gives you another idea of the kind of person that you're dealing with. Is that something that you studied or something that you're particularly been drawn to, figuring people out in that way?
So basically it is, I did international, as I said in the beginning, I did international business administration with a focus on entrepreneurship and innovation. So always a little bit more into this area of maybe in the future becoming my own boss. I didn't manage, but I'm happy about it. This is definitely something that I can live with. I have a great team here, but I've always been interested in psychology, and I would say I'm more of a people person, a bit more extroverted, and I try to understand feelings and try to understand as well how people are doing it. When it comes to the human resource part, this is something that I learned over the past years. Wherever you want to go ahead in life, unless you are the specialist in something, let's say the perfect neurosurgeon or something like that, you need to interact with people. So people are extremely important, and it doesn't matter in which hierarchy, but the moment you grow within a hierarchy as well, you will be in charge of managing people or interacting on a heavy level with people. So this is always an aspect that is very interesting, which I wouldn't only say it's for HR. Sales is very much affected by that as well. And in the end, we are not machines. We have feelings. We have a good day. We have a bad day. And I think this is very important to understand if you want to become a good manager in any case. So that is a little bit how it came.
Let's take a little bit of a step back. I see you've got an impressive resume. There's a couple interesting things on there, and something I want to touch on, talking about people, is the machine learning. You've done a few courses, you've got some nice things from university, but tell us a little bit about that journey through the formal training years. Did you know, you spoke about being your own boss? What were your plans? How did it go from when you started learning?
I was working for PricewaterhouseCoopers, and eventually, as a consultant, I said, due to my studies, I basically said I would like to found my own business to kind of see how that works. And I had two options. I basically said I could have played it safe and stayed in the career that started well and could have proceeded there. And then I had the other option to, wait for another 20 years to have the network and all these great things to maybe then start the journey. And I went for, let's say, the riskier part without a lot of experience. And funnily enough, set it up with my partner, with my wife now, Riel. She was doing fashion, and her end project for her school was basically a recommendation system for buying fashion clothing. So what we basically set up then was our company Monsteel, which tried to solve this problem. And while we were doing that, we pretty fast realized that it's not possible to be done just with rule-based system, but that there's this technology, this thing. People were not speaking that much back then, but it's actually, machine learning is quite an old topic in that sense. There's obviously the derivatives that we see now that are very specific, LLMs, for instance, Gen AI. But what we did, we worked actually on building a computer system that mirrors the work of a stylist, of a professional stylist. So we needed something that can basically talk to people. And on the other hand, we needed a backend that could, in a way, understand what is on pictures. So we started really digging into, with our CTO, to really dig into computer vision, basically picture recognition, and build their algorithms, our own algorithms. And then, on the other hand, we developed a chat interface, a chatbot back then, as it was in 2016, that basically could talk to our clients and could interact and recommend them cool stuff that they really would like. And that's a little bit how I fell into this entire machine learning topic. I'm not a coder, so I had to kind of understand certain levels of technologies and what is possible. And I can tell you it was not that easy. Most people told us, even investors told us, like, what you guys plan is not feasible, impossible. You would need billions for that. And we said, well, we want to accept this challenge of doing something that everybody else says that is impossible, as you do when you're in your 20s. And
Yes.
we tried it. And it was possible to a certain degree. Now, obviously, during this journey, we worked together as well with university. That's where I did as well this course from the Technical University here in Vienna, to understand the technologies that are out there. Again, not a coder. And when I came to Valutico, the interesting part is that Paul, our CEO, is as well very, very interested in this matter. And now, for instance, we hired the dedicated machine learner here, so that's at Valutico, who will help us to really, I think, fulfill our greater vision for that topic.
That's fantastic. It's quite a journey that you went on, and you must have learned quite a bit about yourself through this experience. Can you maybe tell us some of the hard lessons you learned?
Oh, sure. There's a couple of them. I went through, to be honest, I did the full positive and negative startup experience. Very honest about it. First of all, I would like to state something for all future founders. If you're somebody who really likes security, and you basically are a little bit risk averse, That is not necessarily a reason to not found, but it's definitely not the best preposition. The same goes if you are an incredible risk taker. That is a very good trade. But if you are very unreasonable and you don't back, you're going to end up very poor in the end, because that's not. You have to find a middle or a middle way. That definitely is important for that. I can say about myself that I believed in the beginning, in particular in my 20s, that it cannot be that hard and that you should be do and that you can change everything. You can, but it's hard and it will tear on you, both on the emotional level as well on your constitution, meaning your own body and these type of things. So it doesn't matter to whom I speak, who is a founder. Everybody said, like, sleepless nights, had that. Sorrow, had that. Thinking like, oh my God, where do I get money for to pay my employees? Had that. So these are normal things that you should be just aware of before you found. And if you're cut out for that, and everybody can learn on the way. That's personally what I think as well. So when we speak about hardship, it was great to get the first investments. It was great to get, the first clients. These are spectacular moments. But obviously you have to deal as well with the fact of, hey, things are not working well. I have a deadline, or I want that the solution is out there. In particular in tech, I can tell you, everybody will tell you, oh yeah, it's done in half a year, and 1.5 years later, you're still there developing maybe the same feature or something like that. So it is very important to understand that and to be aware of that, because that gives you as well sanity to a certain degree. With my situation, I was often asked by CEOs, older people in particular, hey, you're founding something with your partner. That is a different dynamic that comes into your life, If you and your partner both work in the same and both setting up something have to come with failure, this has maybe as well an influence on your personal life, So there's a good tip from my side. After work is finished, take your break, and then try in a relationship at least to say, okay, work was, and now we have a movie night, and then it's a movie night and it's nothing else, and no work should be mentioned there. So these things are very important. Hardship, sometimes you want to believe, sometimes in the beginning, you might be attracted that somebody wants to invest, you want to take money in. You're happy about the fact that somebody believes as much as you and even is willing to put money on the table. Find the right partners. It's a very important lesson. Listen to your gut feeling when it comes to people. If you have a better one, that comes in quite handy. But really try to understand who you are dealing with, and if they have a track record, if they can show you, if they can really bring to the table what they promise you. Because a lot of people promise, a lot of people show, a lot of people flash money, for instance, in the beginning. Very attractive again, but can be hard on the longer run. You want to have good people that really believe as much as you do in the vision, and then you can still be wrong. So these are my, I would say, five little lessons that I learned there.
Fantastic. That's really good advice. I want to thank you for sharing that with us. There were a couple of things you mentioned that I found quite interesting and could possibly save people a lot of heartache, a lot of time, and a lot of money by following some of that advice. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to ask you one last question, and I'd like you to tell me, two last questions. I'd like you to tell me a little bit about what you see for the future. What are your plans? What do you envision coming up for yourself, for your company? What is in your sights?
Well, at the moment, I'm here at Valutico, where I'm very happy. I get a lot of trust from management, and I'm part of the management. That's something beautiful as well here. I would say at my age, 36 years old, so not the youngest, not the oldest, somewhere in between, but have a lot of responsibility. So I would say that's the now. We have quite big ambition still to grow further. And I have to give kudos to our CEO here. He has really, really established a great business that is growing, that brings him revenue relatively from the first day on. So this is not something usual in that sense. So that is for me important that I'm getting valued. There's the responsibility level, so I'm happy about that. And as I said, we still have these ideas, this big new features that we are developing right now, where I think, have a great shot to further disrupt our industry. So I'm quite happy to be on this ship and to sail with them in hopefully into a prosperous future. On the personal level, I'm very honest. There will be some changes next year, some growth within my near environment. I guess you know what that means. So that will be a new challenge for myself as well. It's not going to be a dog; it's going to be a human being. So quite curious on how that journey will be in my life. So I'm very excited for that time, to be honest, and I think that is why I couldn't tell you in the next 5 years I want to do that. In the next 10 years, I want to do that. Even though that Bill Gates said we overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in 10. And to be honest, for the next 10 years, I want to make a conscious decision then as well with my change situation and make my plan then. Because as you say, it will have an impact, and I want to understand as well what human being I want to be in that time. Yeah. I would say that summarizes my future plans for the moment.
Beautiful. Stephan, last one for you. If we have to write a quote on your bedroom wall, you wake up every day, you see this writing on your wall, you have to read it every morning. What does it say?
To be honest, never forget who you are and where you came from.
I like that. A reminder of your journey that you've been on and who you are as a person. So staying true to yourself. That's very cool. Very deep.
No, it's the most important one. I always said I want to wake up and look in the mirror and be happy and proud of what I did.
100%. Is there anything that I may have missed? Anything you'd like to add before we part ways?
No, from my side, I think I'm good. I hope I didn't make it too sentimental.
No. It was absolutely perfect. I want to thank you very much for joining us today. You shared some wonderful insights with us, and we do appreciate it. And I'm sure our listeners and our viewers will also find it very useful.
Matt, thank you for your time, and let's stay in touch, and I will definitely pick you up on your offer to visit you in South Africa.
Awesome. Thanks, my friend.